Conor McGregor owned the UFC for a time. He was the face and the name of the combat sports universe. Admit it, you probably bought his whiskey. Admit it, you practice your Irish accent and talk trash in the mirror and to your friends. Admit it. Okay, maybe you did and maybe you didn't. It's neither here nor there. We've got to get in our time machine and go back a couple of years to one of the biggest incidents to happen in or around the octagon. UFC 229, Conor versus Khabib for the lightweight championship title. This was as big as fights get. But check this out. Leave it to the always outspoken Chael Sonnen to have some very interesting thoughts about the wild weekend. Do you remember the brawl that followed immediately after Khabib almost popped Conor's head off? Let's do a quick refresher. Khabib dominated the fight, keeping distance from Conor's infamous and dangerous left hand. He won the fight by rear naked choke. Conor was exhausted and couldn't keep up with Khabib's unstoppable ground game.
There's the count! Khabib Nurmagomedov has finished Conor McGregor tonight!
The Dagestani was way too much. There's a reason Khabib never lost in the octagon. So I'll ask again. Do you remember what happened the second the fight was over? Brawl! Now we get to Chael Sonnen's theory. Sonnen says it's simple to figure out. The Nevada State Athletic Commission dodged a lawsuit from Conor McGregor by purposefully failing to do their job. Weird, right? Sonnen is 100% convinced that the NSAC avoided a lawsuit by fining Conor McGregor.
He heard him up top. He heard Poirier with that left.
Hands in his hips.
He went on the record saying that he was blown away by the maneuver pulled by the commission. In allowing Conor to get attacked by Khabib's team, they preempted a possible lawsuit from Conor. Treachery at its finest. It was enough to impress Chael Sonnen anyway. According to Sonnen, the commission doesn't have a lot of jobs to do, but they have one very specific job, and that is to keep the fighter safe. Conor was chilling in the octagon, catching his breath after Khabib almost squeezed his head off his shoulders. The guy was freaking exhausted.
It's not just grappling with his arms, but utilizing his leg.
There's the choke.
You could see it. He wasn't exactly rearing for another fight right then and there. Here's where Sonnen gets a little bit conspiratorial, and we're all for it. He says that the apparatus, the cage, was supposed to be secured and that it failed to be secured. It was not secure. An unsecure cage may as well be an open cage. Put up a sign that says, "Welcome in." So Khabib's team went after Conor. Sonnen says they know Conor didn't do anything wrong, but they got some brilliant legal minds in a room together and they crafted a plan. A lawsuit against Conor McGregor before he could sue them for any wrongdoing. Sonnen's actual words? It was brilliant. Before Conor's neck was even healed up from Khabib's iron grip, the NSAC sued and made Conor settle. It all happened so fast that McGregor's camp had no time at all to figure out the scheme they were playing on him. $150,000, maybe $175,000. Poof, pay up. Since that fight with Khabib, it's been a bit of an uphill battle for Conor McGregor. His first fight after Khabib was against Donald Cowboy Cerrone, a fan favorite and overall swell guy. But that didn't stop Conor from laying it on him. McGregor destroyed Cowboy in the first round with a very interesting shoulder technique.
Kick from McGregor. Cerrone covering up.
Oh, and did we mention Conor had slicked back hair? Very cool. Then Conor went on a slump and got whooped by Dustin Poirier. Not once, twice. Ouch. Do you remember how the second fight ended? Leave a comment below. The spotlight has left Conor a bit. That's the nature of the game, though. You have to be in the octagon fighting the best for the crowds to chant your name.
Nice posture for striking from Conor McGregor, really throwing the legs to the side, landing a nice big shot.
Since McGregor's absence and crowd draw, a couple of new names have caught the attention of the masses. Guys like Sean O'Malley, who talks crazy smack and has wild and colorful hair, tattoos, and a young, don't give a bleep style. O'Malley talked his way into a fight with Peter Yan, the #1 bantamweight contender. O'Malley won the fight by decision, cementing himself as a crowd favorite. And don't forget Paddy Pimblett, an Englishman with a lot of gusto. He talks almost as much as Conor.
No, it wasn't. That wasn't close. He just consoled me in the fight. But no, watch out. Have you consulted me manager and see how much you're paying me for this interview?
So Conor will have his hands full if he hopes to return and maintain the same impact he's had for the last several years. It's not easy to stay king. We've talked an awful lot about Conor McGregor, and he didn't even win the fight with Khabib. So what about the mighty Khabib? How's he doing? Well, we know that a pretty brutal tweet he sent out about Conor in 2020 has resurfaced. It's well known that Khabib and Conor weren't exactly friends, even before the epic showdown at UFC 229, and the fight did absolutely nothing to bring them together. They won't be calling each other on their birthdays, let's just put it that way. But hey, this is the age of social media, so they still talk. The two have traded barbs back and forth on social media for years, but one particular tweet has lasted the test of time, and it even made some rounds during the holiday season. The setup: Conor tweeted a GOAT list in May of 2020. Khabib, being the tricky devil he is, put Conor's list on blast. It's still quite memorable.
Begins on the feet. Let's see how it goes here early round 2.
To force Khabib to take a bat for it. That's what we're seeing here.
McGregor put Anderson Silva as number 1 on his list. And can you blame him? The Spider dominated the UFC for as long as anyone. He's number 1 on a lot of lists. But here's the part we can assume rubbed Khabib the wrong way. Conor said that by the end of his career, he'd be number 1. Uh-oh. Let's see Conor's actual tweet. It speaks for itself. My array of finishes across 3 divisions, with championship status in 2. I'm number 2, if not number 1. However, I'm still active. Number 1 is fully secured by career end, and easily. He mentions Georgia St. Pierre and John Jones as well, but who cares? They don't have beef with Conor like Khabib does. As you can imagine, Khabib was not impressed with Conor's GOAT list. It seems reasonable that Khabib might disagree. First off, Conor left Khabib off the list entirely, which is weird, right? Khabib is undefeated. He smashed Conor and choked him out. But maybe Khabib was more annoyed by Conor's ego and sense of pride. After all, Conor put himself at number 2, even though he hasn't exactly had the most impressive record over his career. Conor was submitted by Khabib and Nate Diaz in the last few years, but most importantly, Conor has not defended his lightweight or featherweight title in the UFC.
There you go, right there. Good left hand. Just missed.
Khabib is having none of it. Khabib Nurmagomedov dropped the hammer in his tweet to Conor. You tapped out in featherweight, you tapped out in lightweight, and you tapped out in welterweight. You never defended your title in the UFC or Cage Warriors, a little ways back in his career. You gave up more than Spider, GSP, or John Jones all combined. Then he mocked him by calling him, "You are the greatest UFC fighter in Twitter history." Shots fired. If that wasn't enough, John Jones and Nate Diaz took to Twitter themselves and defended Khabib's tweet. Conor has his work cut out for him if he plans to regain the status he thinks he deserves.
Irishman, a slightly more measured approach than usual, but getting the job done once again with some vicious hands.
He hasn't fought in the octagon since 2021, in which he broke his leg in a gruesome way while getting punched up by Dustin Poirier, who had KO'd him in their previous fight. But alas, Conor is expected back in 2023.
Conor with a big shot to start this off.
And we can all say that we want this and that, but I'm excited for his return. Are you? Thanks for tuning in, guys. We hope you enjoyed the video as much as we loved making it for you. We'll be back soon with more content for your entertainment, but in the meantime, hit the like and subscribe buttons. We'll see you soon. Take care.